Welcome, and welcome back to Bedtime Stories with Vice Baby, where we will continue the journey of Beckie and Neddie Stubtail. Chapter 15. Neddie's Joke on Uncle Wigwag. What is the matter? Why are you laughing so much? Asked Aunt Piffy, the fat old lady bear, of Uncle Wigwag, the comical old bear gentleman, one morning at the breakfast table. Oh, I I just can't help it, said Uncle Wigwag, giggling, so that he spilled some honey on the tablecloth. And Mrs. Stubtail, the mama bear, said, "Oh, there you go again." "Excuse me," spoke Uncle Wigwag, and then he laughed some more, and some milk he was drinking went down his Sunday throat. And, as the day happened to be Thursday, it was altogether wrong, you see, and Uncle Wigwag choked and sniffed and snuffled and laughed all at the same time. "Well, I do declare," exclaimed Aunt Piffy, as she patted Uncle Wigwag on the back so he wouldn't lose his breath. And he didn't, I'm glad to say. But Aunt Piffy accidentally pounded him so hard that she lost part of her own breath. And when she talked next time, she had to go like this. "I never saw you behave so at the table before, Waggy, in all my life. Never. What is the matter, Waggy?" You see, she called Uncle Wigwag by the name of Waggy for short. "Oh," said Uncle Wigwag, when he finally could talk. "I just thought of something I did. It made me laugh." Mr. Whitewash, the polar bear gentleman, looked at Uncle Wigwag quite severely, but he said nothing, and only went on eating his breakfast. "I think I know what made Uncle Wigwag laugh," said Beckie Stubtail, the little girl bear, to Neddie, her brother, some time later. "What?" he asked, as he looked for his books to take to school. "What is it, Beckie?" "He's thinking of a joke to play," said Beckie. "I believe you're right," went on Neddie. "Oh, Beckie, and I've just thought of something too." "What is it?" she asked as she looked to see if her doll, Sarah Janet Picklefeather, was nicely covered up in the puppy dog basket, so she won't get cold while Beckie was at school. "We'll just play a trick on Uncle Wigwag," went on Neddie. "He plays so many on us that it's about time we played one on him." "Oh, yes, let's do it," cried Beckie, clapping her little paws. "But it won't be a mean or unkind trick, will it, Neddie? For Uncle Wigwag is very good to us, and he gives us lollipops, even if he does play a joke on us now and then." "Oh, no, it won't be a bad trick," said Neddie, laughing. "Only a funny one." So, the two little bear children went on to school, talking on the way of the joke they would play on Uncle Wigwag. In fact, Neddie was thinking so much about this that he did not pay enough attention to his lessons, and when the teacher asked him, "Why does a cow eat grass?" Neddie answered, "Because it's a joke." You see, he was thinking of the one he and Beckie were going to play. But the teacher didn't know that, so she made Neddie go down to the foot of the class for not answering correctly. Well, when school was out, Neddie and Beckie hurried off by themselves to play the joke on Uncle Wigwag. "Have you thought of what to do yet?" asked Beckie. "Yes," said Neddie. "You know, it was cold last night, and the little puddle of water near our cave house is frozen over. It's as slippery as glass. Now we'll cover the puddle over with some sawdust so you can't see the ice. Then we'll make believe write a letter to Uncle Wigwag, and we'll put it on the top of the sawdust in the middle of the frozen puddle. He'll run out to get the letter when we tell him there's one for him. And he'll slip on the ice and go down bunk." "Oh, but won't he get hurt?" asked Becky, anxious-like. No, for his fur is so thick now that he won't feel the fall, said Neddie. Come on, we'll play a joke on him. So, the little two bear children got some sawdust, and when no one was looking, they sprinkled it on the ice so the slippery stuff could not be seen. Then, they made believe write a letter to Uncle Wigwag, and putting it in a large envelope with his name on the outside, they put this right in the middle of the frozen puddle, tossing it there so they themselves would not have to walk on ice and maybe fall down. Now, we'll hide behind this tree, said Neddie, and watch for Uncle Wigwag to fall down. They have left word with Mr. Whitewash the polar bear. Tell Uncle Wigwag as soon as he come in that there was a letter for him on the sawdust. Mr. Whitewash, not knowing anything of the joke Neddie was playing, said he would tell Uncle Wigwag of the letter. Well, after a while, when Neddie and Beckie had been hiding behind the tree for some time, out came Uncle Wigwag. Now watch, whispered Neddie. See him tumble when he gets on the ice. But instead of going over and picking up the letter, Uncle Wigwag put a box down on the ground near the path by which Neddie and Beckie went to school. And then the old gentleman bear himself went and hid behind a tree. Oh, what do you know about that? Whispered Neddie. He's playing a joke on us, just as I said he would. There's nothing in that box but a piece of brick, or maybe a lot of stones. Uncle Wigwag expects we'll pick it up, thinking it's candy, and when we open it, he'll cry, "April Fool," even if it isn't the month to play those jokes. I believe that's what he's doing, said Beckie, laughing. Well, we'll just not be fooled, went on Neddie. We'll leave the make-believe box of candy alone and wait until we see Uncle Wigwag go out on the ice after his letter and fall down. So, the two little bear children, laughing to themselves at the joke they were playing on their fun-loving uncle, waited behind the tree. Uncle Wigwag waited behind his tree too. Pretty soon, along came Tommy Cat, the kitten boy. He saw the white box on the path and cried, "Oh boy, I guess this is something good." "Watch him get fooled," whispered Neddie. But lo and behold, Tommy opened the box, and there it was filled with the nicest kind of candy. There wasn't a stone or brick in it. "Oh, yum yum," cried Tommy as he ate the sweet stuff. "Oh dear," cried Beckie. "It was candy after all. What kind of a joke do you call that?" I don't know," answered Neddie, rubbing his nose with his paw. "I guess Uncle Wigwag played a different one this time." "Then we oughtn't to play a mean joke on him, as long as he played such a nice candy joke on us," said the little bear girl. "I guess you're right," agreed Neddie. "We'll tell him not to go get that letter." But before they could do this, Tommy Cat saw the white envelope out on the sawdust-covered ice puddle. "Oh joy!" he cried again. "Maybe that's more candy." And before either Beckie or Neddie could call to him, Tommy rushed out to get the make-believe letter. And as soon as he got on the ice, which he couldn't see because of the sawdust on top, down he went kerbunko, his feet sliding out from under him and the candy scattering all over. "Oh dear," cried Tommy Cat. "I'm all sawdust, and the nice candy. Oh dear, it's all lost." Neddie and Beckie rushed out from behind their tree. "We didn't mean that you should fall, Tommy," said Neddie, as he helped the little kitten boy to stand up. "That was a joke on Uncle Wigwag." Well, I don't call it a very nice joke, said Tommy, rubbing his nose. But anyhow, I did find some candy. Help me pick it up. I guess that was for us, said Beckie. It was one of Uncle Wigwag's joke. As the bear children and the kitten boy were picking up the scattered sweet stuff, out came Uncle Wigwag from behind his tree. Ah, he cried to Neddie. I guess I fooled you after all, didn't I? And so you were going to fool me too, eh? But Tommy got my joke instead. Oh dear. And he laughed so hard that he got the hiccoughs. And Aunt Piffy had to rush out the cave house to pat him on the back. And then, all of a sudden, the bad bear, in whose nose Beckie had stuck the needle when she was making her doll's dress, came rushing up, growling and wanting to bite someone. But Neddie Stubtail, brave little chap that he was, threw a hard lollipop at the bear, hitting him on his sore nose, making him cry, "Wow!" and run away off in the woods where he belonged. Then, the rest of the candy was picked up, and Beckie and Neddie said they were sorry they had tried to play the ice trick on Uncle Wigwag, and everything was all right. And, on the next page, if the pen holder doesn't let the ink bottle fall out of the window and make a black mark on the sidewalk, I'll tell you about Mr. Whitewash and the stovepipe. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Bedtime Stories with Vice Vice Baby. I hope you all have a good night and sweet dreams.